cases that are in the news and the media. Today, firing trial recently. Kohberger's attorney filed the motion last month citing as Supreme Court from 1976 stating that forcing a defendant to wear a jail uniform to court could negatively impact the result of his guilty of all alleged crimes. Former criminology PhD student has pled not guilty to all charges in the offense stabbing Haley non-Calvin. 21 Madison Mogan, 21 Xander Canoodle, 20-year-old Ethan Jackson, whose bodies were found at their off-campus house in November 2022. Kohberger was arrested around 6 weeks later for murder. His trial is scheduled to begin August 2025 and is expected to last until November 2025. She argued that Idaho is currently not capable of executing inmates on death row, so that to keep a person on death row without a way to execute them is dehumanizing. Watauga County prosecutor responded to the defense argument, pointing out that Idaho's current method of execution is instruction and that it is actually available. You don't know decades from now what an alternative might be. Maybe we'll have a better argument decades from now on the method of execution, because maybe there will be another method. Deputy Attorney General Jeffrey Nye said, arguing that methods of execution should not take the death sentence off the table. You don't get to, at the beginning, short circuit the whole thing and take death sentence off the table because the current method is unconstitutional, Nye said, adding that not to say decades from now there's not going to be a method to put him to death. Idaho, which is one of 27 states that allow capital punishment, currently permits death by lethal injection, and as of last year, firing squad. After hearing arguments from both the prosecution and defense, Judge Hippler said, I don't believe our Constitution allows for us to move forward and make him sit on death row for years and years if the way Idaho is doing it right now isn't really working. Kohberger's public defender, Ann Taylor, told the judge, it's not a realistic option. I think to have him sit on death row and say Idaho is going to figure out how to kill you at some point in the future in a way that is cruel and unusual and a violation of rights, she added. Ada County District Court Judge Stephen Hippler, who was recently assigned to the case, said, Taylor, so you're saying the anxiety of not knowing is a constitutional violation? It is anxiety. It's a fear to respond. It's the not knowing. For Idaho murder suspect Bryan Kohberger are fighting to strike the penalty in this high-profile case, arguing that the state has no real means of executing a convicted prisoner, and that the so-called methods, which include an inhumane firing squad as an alternative, are arbitrary and unconstitutional. Kohberger, 29, a former Washington State University criminologist who is accused of slaughtering 4 University of the Idaho students at their off-campus home in November 2022, could be sentenced to death if convicted of the murders at his trial next summer. The case of the shocking slayings that rattled the small town of Moscow was recently moved to Boise after the defense successfully argued that Kohberger would not have an impartial jury in a tight-knit community because of the extensive media coverage, potentially tainting the jury pool. Dressed in a dark suit, blue shirt, and tie, Kohberger appeared in Ada County courtroom on Thursday with his defense team, who argued that their client could face death by firing squad if convicted under Idaho law, due to the shortage of lethal injections running across the county. I don't know if anybody else believes in the death penalty or not. Another newsworthy case is the Delphi Murders. Guilty on all counts in the Delphi double murder trial. Richard Allen has been found guilty of 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of felony murder in the highly publicized Delphi murder trial. This is according to CNN. Prosecutors say Allen killed 13-year-old Abigail Williams, which is known by Abby, and 14-year-old Liberty Libby German, she's known as Libby, in 2017, catching them throws and leaving their bodies near a trail in Delphi, Indiana. The case went cold for more than 5 years until Allen was arrested in 2022. The jury spent about 19 hours deliberating before reaching a verdict. Regardless of what the verdict is, people aren't going to be happy, said Special Judge Francis. Go ahead of the verdict, WTHR reported. Richard Allen sat emotionless as the guilty verdict was read. His lawyers comforted him before he was handcuffed and led away from the courtroom. The judge left the gag order restricting the involved parties from speaking on the case in place until Allen is sentenced December 20th. Allen could be sentenced up to 130 years in prison. Crying as she left the courthouse, Libby's grandmother, Becky Patty, hugged family members. The crowd outside erupted into applause and cheers outside the courtroom after the guilty verdict was announced. Some spectators held signs showing their support for Allen, while others expressed their desire for a guilty verdict, according to CNN affiliate Wish. Allen's wife, Kathy Allen, told WTHR this isn't over at all as she left the courtroom. The 12-person jury, which had been sequestered during the trial, began deliberating on Thursday afternoon, which was not this last Thursday. This was released November 11th. So it's a couple weeks ago. The 12-person jury, which had been sequestered during the trial, I'm going to read this again, began deliberating. 17 days. There were 17 days of testimony. The judge instructed them to deliberate from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Saturday until they reached a verdict. Gold gave the jurors their final instructions Thursday morning and urged them to consider the facts before Carroll County prosecutor Nick McLean delivered a closing argument, walking the jury through the evidence and testimony presented during the trial. It was reported that it said, I believe the evidence is firmly convincing that Richard Allen is a bridge guy and he killed Abby and Libby, Nick Leland told the jury, referring to a video taken from Libby's phone showing a man walking down the Monon High Bridge Trail. The Delphi law enforcement have long held they believe the bridge guy shown in the video is the main subject in the case. McLeland showed jurors graphic photos of the girls' bodies. The bridge guy's video, which he said captured the final moments of the girls' lives, and a recording of Allen purportedly confessing to his wife during a phone call from prison. I did it. Allen could be heard telling his wife, I killed Abby and Libby. Defense attorney Brad Rossi, in closing argument, said a broken timeline, false confessions, and a lack of DNA or weapons evidence should lead to acquittal. The defense trusts what you heard over the past several weeks is more important than what you're hearing today. The defense further argued no physical evidence tied Allen to the killings and said confessions he made in the past week were false and stemmed from being in solitary confinement for months as his mental health deteriorated. The Delphi murder case goes back to court February 13th. back to February 13, 2017, when Abby and Libby went for a hike on the Monon High Bridge in Delphi. The two girls were reported missing after they failed to meet Libby's father that afternoon. The next day, their bodies were found both dead from cuts to the throat and partially covered by sticks. That's information that the public didn't really know about. The case attracted public attention in part because of the video and audio recording of a suspect taken from Libby's smartphone. The video shows a man walking on the bridge with his hands in his pockets, and the audio includes a man's muffled voice saying, "Guys, go down the hill." Although police circulated the audio and a still photo from the video says after the killing and identified the bridge guy as their prime suspect, the case ran cold for more than 5 years until Allen was arrested in 2022. Allen had seemingly evaded police notice, staying in the small town of Delphi and working at a local CVS pharmacy until a clerk digitalized tips related to the investigation in September 2022 noticed he had placed himself at the scene of the crime just days after the bodies were discovered. Allen told police he had been on the trail during the time frame the girls were thought to have been killed. Carroll County Sheriff Tony Liggett said the tip Allen got lost in the tracks, according to CNN affiliate WLFI. Around a month after the tip was rediscovered, Allen was arrested after police matched an unspent cartridge found between the girl's body to a pistol recovered from his home during a police search. After Allen was arrested on October 22, 2022, he was charged with 2 counts of murder while committing or attempting to commit a kidnapping 5 days later. Prosecutors later amended the charges to include 2 additional murder counts. So next going to be discussed is Allen's confessions and his mental health when he made them, and they were highlighted. Over the course of the trial, the prosecution highlighted Allen's dozens of confessions. While incarcerated, he confessed to the crime more than 60 times, prosecutors say, including to his wife, his mother, the psychologist who treated him, the warden, and other prison employees and inmates. They played audio recording some of the confessions of the jury. Monica Walla, the former lead psychologist at Westfield Correctional Facility where Allen was housed, testified he initially told he was innocent, but began confessing to the crimes in April of 2023, around the time he was placed back on suicidal watch. Walla testified Allen had told her, "I killed Abby and Libby, I'm sorry," according to CNN affiliate WTHR. He said he originally planned to sexually assault the victims, but ran away when he saw a van nearby. And he had cut the girls' throats and covered their bodies with sticks, she testified. The defense was sought to paint a portrait of Allen as a mentally ill man whose fragile mental state was exacerbated by months spent in solitary confinement, including during the time period when he was confessed to the crimes. He was twice placed on suicide watch while in prison, exhibited bizarre behavior such as eating his own... Oh yeah, we don't need to discuss that. That's gross. He was banging his head and eating his own feces, and was at one time diagnosed with a brief psychotic disorder, according to testimony from Walla. Testifying for the defense, Deanna Dwenger, I can't pronounce her last name, a clinical psychologist who worked for the Indiana Department of Correctional Behavioral Health, testified Allen was diagnosed with a serious mental health illness in April 2023, and a team of mental health professionals concluded he had a grave disability. The defense originally hoped to introduce an Odinism defense, a theory that followers of Odin, or a Norse pagan religion recently adopted by white supremacists, committed the killings, but Judge Gould repeatedly rejected motions to introduce this theory. Despite Allen's confession, very little physical evidence ties him to the case. A DNA expert testified for the state found none of Allen's DNA at the crime scene, and none of Libby or Abby's DNA was found on the items recovered from his home. Prosecutors drew attention to the 40 caliber unspent round found by the girls' bodies, which a prosecution expert testified matched Allen's pistol. The defense cast doubt on the bullet evidence, questioning why more images were not taken of the cartridge and suggesting the bullet could have come from a law enforcement officer's weapon, according to WRTV. The prosecution has also tried to match Allen with the video and audio recording of the bridge guy captured on Libby's cell phone. Indiana State Police Master Trooper Bryan Kohberger, who said he listened to more than 700 of Allen's prison phone calls, testified for the prosecution. In his opinion, the voice of the bridge guy is the voice of Richard Allen. Richard Allen is bridge guy, McLean told jurors. He kidnapped them and later murdered them. In response, Rosie said Allen was not clearly identified by witnesses as the man as walking on the trail or the bridge when the teenagers went missing. He also pointed out Allen still lived in Delphi for more than 5 years after the girls were killed. He had every chance to run, but he did not because he didn't do it, Rosie told the jurors. The Delphi Murders jury reaches a verdict for suspect Richard Allen after deliberating 4 days. They found him guilty on all charges in the February 2017 of 2 teen girls who had been walking it on a hiking trail in Delphi. The case was more than 7 years in the making since Abigail and Abby Williams, 13, and Liberty German was 14 when they disappeared on their walk February 14, 2017. The investigators found them brutally murdered the next day with sticks covering their bodies in a wooded area nearby in the Moon Trail. He will be sentenced on December 20th, according to media pool reporting, and faces up to 140 years in prison. Near the conclusion of Allen's trial, the defense presented testimony from a former FBI forensic expert who said it appeared as though someone plugged the headphones into Libby's phone, which was discovered near the girls' bodies on February 14th at 5:45 p.m. on February 14, hours after they were last seen. Carroll County Prosecutor Nick McLean told jurors in his opening statement that when searchers found the 2 girls in a wooded area near the Monon High Bridge, Libby was naked and covered in blood. Both girls had their throats cut several times. One key piece of evidence presented during the trial was a video of Libby recorded on her phone at some point. For the first time since the girls were reported missing, jurors got to watch 43 seconds of the crucial video in the court on October 22nd. The video shows Libby and Abby walking with an unknown man wearing a hat and blue utility jacket who has become known as the last 5 years as a bridge guy. Libby captured the video at 2:13 p.m. less than 25 minutes after she and Abigail family members dropped them off at the trail. Guys, down the hill, the man can be heard saying to the girls in the video. Allen admitted in one jailhouse confession he did order the girls down the hill. He also repeatedly confessed to killing the girls, apparently saying he wanted to rape the girls, but was spooked by a man driving nearby, which I reported earlier. The attorney said his declining mental stability led him to make false statements behind bars. Also, witnesses who confessed during Allen's trial said they saw Allen on and around the Monon Trail February 13, around the time the girls disappeared. More than 5 years after their deaths, investigators executed a search warrant of Alan's home in Delphi on October 13, 2022, and they discovered a blue Carhartt jacket, a .226 40 caliber semi-automatic handgun, and a 40 caliber S&W cartridge in a wooden keepsake box from Sorry, I got a phone call. I'll wait for that phone call. Defense previously argued in court documents that members of an urban cult had killed which I reported this earlier, but according to attorneys who spoke to Fox News Digital, this was a theory that was made by letting everybody know. I appreciate everybody listening in.